Hello, and welcome to another episode of Darkness in Dublin. Tonight, we focus on our three characters having a private meeting to discuss business and some profit going on here in Dublin. The last few weeks have just been insane. And now our scene takes us to a dark street.
Well, we can intro where our characters are at the moment.
You'll see a couple fairly standard looking fellows dressed in kind of standard, security garbs, driving along, and you'll see a black Mercedes parked, and it comes up to your address.
Here, I'm done.
Sorry. And it comes up to your address, and two men walk out carrying kind of a folded package or coveted canvas. And I assume that Robert, you would have gone with them when I gave you the message earlier.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
In my studio, in my apartment, in the studio, by the way.
Yep. What's the apartment look like?
It has an entryway. On the right side, it's the living room, then a kitchen, and then a small bedroom. On the right is a long hallway. On the right side is her bedroom, Monique's bedroom, and straight ahead is the studio, which is the biggest room of the apartment. So she's in the furthest in room, but she does have a buzzer.
Mm-hmm. One of the security will ring.
I will answer the buzzer. I say, who is it?
Miss Monique, this is Taylor and Josh. We are Sam's benefactors. We have brought your first work.
I see. I'll buzz you in, and
Thank you, ma'am.
buzz them in.
You buzz them in. They walk up very professionally, carrying it very carefully too, not as to bang it against the walls or anything. These guys seem to be very professional. I take it Robert is following.
Yeah, I will shout at them on the left and then straight in the studio because I'm
Yes,
there
ma'am.
preparing.
They go in, they set it down, and they just stand by. Sam will sneak in behind them, obfuscated, full level.
Thank you. And I will give them a tip of like 20 euros each.
Thank you, ma'am. Sam told us that our associate should wait with you. Is there any particular thing else that you need or that we can do for you before we head out?
Everything's fine at the moment. Thank you.
Okay.
You may be dismissed.
They nod their heads and they walk down the stairs. And then you just hear kind of a very, very low tone from one of the shadowed corners. And it says, "You have no idea how hard it is to get in contact with someone nowadays."
Hello, Sam.
Sam goes ahead and drops off his skate, and he's got Mask of a Thousand Faces on. He looks like his standard business self. And he says, "Oh, so glad that auction is over. I was about ready to just walk out into the sun at that point."
Yes, I was there as well.
Yeah, I saw the commotion. Um, Not exactly. Well, let's just say tensions were high, very high.
It was the most stupid thing I've ever done.
Well, it's part of the scam of auctions. They rope you in with tantalizing delectables, but they never really convey to you the true aspect of the price of what you are paying.
Hmm. Seems I lost everything, and I gained a lesson, I suppose.
Well,
Regrettably, I missed it altogether.
well, yeah, you believe me, it
You
was a
were
good thing.
lucky that you did.
It was a good thing you weren't there. The royal pain in the ass. You would have been bored out of your mind anyway.
I wouldn't
Anyway,
call it
this is
boring.
anyway, Monique Glad. This is my newest assistant. I'll be discussing some more business propositions with him later. But for right now, he is one of my newest associates. I assume you two have met.
Yes, at the Elysium, I believe.
Yes, introduced me to the prince when the red lister showed up.
That's
Hmm.
right, that
It was
fucker.
eventful.
Yeah, like
Yes.
where is that motherfucker?
Mr. Talbot.
I can't pin him down.
Who?
Oh, the one who calls himself Shadow. At least that's what some call him.
Uh, I really have no idea what you're talking about.
I think of him
Not
as
in
the
my
albino menace.
circles.
What was that, Talbert?
I think of him as the albino menace.
Yes, the Albino Menace. That's a good nickname.
Oh, you're talking about the red lister.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been working with Dr. Brightman, a few other Nosferatu, and I've been using all of my resources to try and find this one, but ugh, I can't even make Dentway. And because Gravedigger's gone, that's thrown a massive wrench in my plans. Everyone's just disappearing.
I think we might have an advantage. I mean,
Go
after
on.
all, the Camarilla did win the vial. We can ask it one question.
I'm
Yes,
gonna-
but there is a problem with this. Who technically has ownership of the vial right now?
I believe it's Clan Tremere, last I checked. I haven't had much
Right.
contact.
Now, although we have certain laws, I do believe that none of our laws prevent someone from being a sneaky fuck, going in and stealing it, and then using it for their own desires. A thing that powerful, I can guarantee there's going to be some infighting probably coming up here, if I had to take a guess. That was the one thing that scared me
Yeah.
about this damn auction. I think there's an underlying layer to it. I think it's being used as a way to take control of the Camarilla.
Overall, or just the city?
I
I
don't
think
know.
overall. I think
I think
overall.
it was just
Think about it. This,
maybe it was
at
just a
least,
display from him, from it, that
well,
perhaps we aren't so different in the sacrifices that we make.
the thing is, here's what's
He has a
bugging me.
point, you know.
I know he has a point, and I know
I
I'm not
know
going to
it.
try and point fingers, but I mean, my paranoia knows no bounds. It's Think about it this way. From what I know, from my allies who are similar to him, fortunately, I don't get into contact with them very often. But from what I know, a being of that kind of power throwing out those kind of items at a whim, not only that, but demanding and working with some of the negotiations that he worked with, is fishy. And not only that, but some of the highest ranking members of our Camarilla and even of apparently other societies were there and laid down very hefty, hefty prices. Now, I've already seen a little bit about what you had to go through, and that's not even a quarter of what some of these other folks paid. What I'm worried about is that we now have higher up members of this city that are basically, pardon my French for better lack of phrasing, his bitch now. That is not
Technically,
good.
they're the auctioneer's bitch,
That's what I
not.
said. That's what I meant. The
That's what he meant.
auctioneer's bit. The auctioneer basically owns some member of the higher up Camarilla now. Like literally.
I heard a rumor that the auctioneer was going to stay behind in Dublin for a time as well.
Indeed. I wonder why.
To cash in.
I suspect so.
No, but I don't just mean staying behind hanging out. I mean, he's opened a small pawn shop.
Yes, he has.
That
24
was
hours, I
fast.
understand.
24 hours, yeah.
I'll probably go and
That
try to
was
talk to him.
very fast.
Yeah, if you're gonna go try talking to him, just be careful. Remember, stepping into his
I
domain, he
never
has
want to
rules to
see him
follow.
again.
Nor do
I
I, but I
never
have a
ever want to see him again.
nor do I, Monique, but I have a feeling it's going to happen anyway.
Stepping into his domain is what? I didn't hear what you were saying.
Stepping into his domain is dangerous. There are rules you have to follow in there. If you don't, then typically
Why would I
when
want to go to his domain?
may not
I
have a
just have to
choice.
leave.
May not have a
I
choice.
want to forget that he exists.
That can probably be arranged, actually.
Miss Monique, if you're authorized or in liberty to tell me what happened, can you just go ahead and start at the beginning and tell me everything that you can speak of? Because what the hell happened?
What
Things have been
exactly do you
going
wish to
nuts.
know?
What exactly? Okay, two things. One, why did you want the painting so bad? Two, what exactly did you sell? What did you give? What was your currency?
Why I wanted this painting? Well, many reasons and hard to explain. I've always been attracted to art, especially art of such importance, even before my embrace. So I felt compelled to do whatever it took to get it, and that was a mistake.
I see.
What I paid was a very painful memory, a very happy one, two minor boons, and the memories I had with my sire before my embrace.
Ah,
And that was the most stupid thing I've ever done. I honestly didn't understand how important it was to him until after it had gone.
I take it your sire was upset.
I haven't seen him since. I haven't heard from him since. I know that some things happened outside the auction house,
Yeah, a
but
car
I
got
don't have all
totaled.
the information. Oh,
Like a car wreck?
No, I mean a car was put into a wall, like into a wall, like the car and the wall merged because someone was really pissed, and I mean really pissed. I saw it on one of the street cams before our local Nosferatu crack technician disabled them and erased the memory, which was a good thing too because we almost had a major masquerade violation twice in one night, if you can believe that.
Ah, that's easy to believe in this town.
Yeah, yeah,
what?
yeah. Actually, now that I
What
think
was
about
the
it.
second time?
Apparently my sources tell me that there was a car, and I quote, it was there, then it was not there, and then it was totaled. Like just
Okay.
disappeared. Like poof, middle of the road, just boom, gone. Like I said, it was a good thing that we had control of the security cameras and everything was wiped because that would have been spooky. And then
That would
apparently
have
the
been
car got
terrible.
totaled, and I saw a few people getting out of the car. Everyone was okay, but they weren't happy with one another. I didn't catch the conversations, but they were pretty upset.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Care to take a guess who the people were?
Do I even want to know?
Let's just say two of them were very close to you, but they're fine. There was nothing bad happened supposedly, but it was a little bit of a scare there.
I have no knowledge of this.
Well, that's like I said, probably more the better.
Monique is visibly shaken at hearing this.
Yeah, there was a.
Yeah,
I don't want to
I
say
I
names just in case
understand.
someone's listening, but it was.
You don't need to. I
Thank you.
I know what happened.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew. I don't want to beat around the bush or try and make you upset. I just felt that you should know if you hadn't already.
Okay. Do you have any information or where my sire is located?
No, that little footage was the last thing I saw of him.
Are you aware if he knows that I bought the memories back and what it had costed?
I can't say. All I know is the last time I saw him, he looked pretty pissed.
All right.
But you're all right now. You're not on the verge of true death. You're okay.
No, not at all. Not in the least bit.
Okay.
I owe a life boon to Sir Stalheim.
The Tremere?
The Tremere, yes.
Sam just
The one the one
Sam
who
visibly
levitates.
Sam visibly is like, oh no.
That won't be easy to retrieve.
No, it won't.
I am aware. I think I'll just try to do something in their interests. I think I'm going to join the fight against the Red Lister. I'll have to.
Sounds
I
about right.
don't know if they'll think that that evens it out or not. Deals with the Tremere seldom
I'll
move forward.
never know unless I try.
Indeed, if you offer enough, major applications for them, it might pay it off. But what happened to the painting?
The prince demanded it, but I didn't want it anyway at that point. I just told Francis to just take it away, and
The artwork. Who was the artist again? Sam actually
it
starting to
was
look visibly scared.
it was a Van Gogh, the Burning Man. It was an unknown piece,
Oh,
and it was legit. I could tell.
And priceless.
well, that explains some of the criticism I received from my supplier.
What criticism is that? And supplier of what?
paintings. The one who got me the paintings that I'm giving to you slowly one by one to get looked at. He
Mm-hmm.
apparently these paintings were from an old warehouse that was used in World War II by the Nazis to hold antiques, heirlooms, paintings, gold, weapons, etc., etc. When I
Mm-hmm.
acquired said rights to some of the items in said warehouse, I was told that I was taking a priceless piece that would be worth, you know, a number that I could not possibly fathom. At first, I thought it was related to this painting that was being sold at the auction, which is why I thought everything was going crazy when I acquired the paintings. But it seems that none of the paintings I acquired were related or counted to that. But for whatever reason, my supplier decided to blame me for the robbing of his stockade of paintings, which I told him I had nothing to do with. But apparently, he had a selection of very priceless paintings, and they were stolen. And I mean priceless paintings.
Hmm.
A lot of very old works.
Was any of them a Van Gogh?
I don't know. But apparently, the moment he found out that I was acquiring paintings from this warehouse, he flipped. Flipped. And I've never had this guy flip on me before. He's been a supplier for quite a few years now.
Hmm.
I told him, I don't have your painting and I don't know which one you're talking about. He described it to me. Apparently, something about an angel falling to earth or something, some kind of tapestry. But he couldn't remember the painter. He kept accusing me that I had stolen it. I kept insisting I hadn't. I've checked all my paintings. None of them are of that description. I assure you.
It's odd that he would just.
Okay.
Yeah, he also is not answering his phone anymore. So not exactly sure what's going on here.
Okay,
Um,
that's interesting.
yeah, several of my contacts have just gone dark, including Gravedigger.
I'm not familiar with the name Gravedigger.
Neither am
Gravedigger,
I.
at least before, from what I can understand, was the main underworld boss of information here in Dublin. The club that
Hmm.
we held the auction at was his.
Hmm, interesting.
Okay.
I tried to get in contact with him when I first got information that Francis gave me about the Red Lister and about gaining information. Also, when I was doing some my business, which is what I do, I tried to get in contact with him. No dice, nothing. So every corner that I've tried to peel away, every shadow I've looked under, I can't find any information on what happened to Gravedigger. No one knows what happened. I can't find any information on the Red Lister. Can't find any information on the Sabbat. Literally, the entire network is just dark. And that
Hmm.
bugs me because I've never had that happen before.
Well, Sabbat are seldom difficult to find. That's not one of their strengths usually.
Exactly. That's what's weird. I found no trace. Nothing. Not even thugs, not even the frontmen or someone messing up or grabbing a human or you violating a masquerade breach. There's nothing. They are dust in the wind.
That
That
can't be
should
good.
not happen. That should not happen at all. Which is another reason I've been overly paranoid recently because I think they're planning a hit. Something big's coming. Something real big. And I don't know if we're going to see it coming or not. But something big is going to happen, whether it's on this plane or the next.
Have you told anyone?
Now that I've spread some word around the contacts and people I know, but I still need to have a little meeting with Hennessy and a few others to kind of give them my suspicions. But I imagine that a few of them are sharing my feelings.
Interesting.
This is a big mess.
We're, it seems, in the middle of many conflicts.
The
Well, Monique, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what happen, but you need help, need work, need some resources. I'm your guy. I won't try to ask a whole lot from you. Um, I assume we're still going to agree to the what did we agree on? 10,000 per painting, or was it more?
5.
Five
5 it
thousand per
was.
painting. I have the
Yes.
first work in there for you. It's an
I
interesting
will.
piece painted, uh, depicting a very nice rendition of a old abandoned farmhouse out in the Germanic forest.
And
Quite a
as you
nice, lovely
say
painting.
that, Monique is going to put on a lab coat and close it, and put on a pair of white gloves, not the latex ones, the cotton ones, and will slightly lift the cover of the painting to take a look at it.
This is a very nice rendition of a classic kind of a hillside on the corner edge of the Germanic forest, showing a old farmhouse that used to be, I believe, a mill. I can't remember the exact name of the painting, but it's a very beautiful artwork piece, and it is currently has a couple copies. This one is said to be the original. One of the copies
Mhm.
is actually in the New York Museum of Natural History on one of their main art displays, because it is a display where they found a lot of ancient artifacts that came from some of the settlers that moved over.
Do
So they have it in a nice section.
do we have another painting by the same artist that is confirmed to be the same artist?
Yes,
I will need that information so I can do research on the
he sends you
authenticity,
everything.
and I'll
Yep.
do that
Hold on one moment.
before I begin restoration.
As he says that, Sam will look up the other painting that the author did.
Talbot will take this time to examine the painting.
It's pretty nice. The one painting, the painting that he's currently in question is the hillside one, and it's a very nice dry canvas paint. And then the other painting for the other one is a painting of National Geographic collection of boulders covered in hillside in the Burschensen National Park, Germany. And the painting is by Norbert Rosing. Norbertrosing.
Uh, Type it on Discord.
Very famous for wildlife paintings and pictures.
Yeah, type it in the on Discord so I can make a note of it.
Mhm.
This certainly is a painting.
It's actually very nice. It's he's particularly the one with the canvas, the oil split canvas that he's done of the boulders and the trees. He's done it in a way to convey a almost three-dimensional um, portrait. He hasn't kind of gone for the flat, like normally when you see a painting you'll see a flat rendition and it'll be like you're looking at it from like what it is, a portrait. However, he's painted this one in such a way that it almost looks as if though you're going through the forest in a 3D perspective, and it's almost like when your eyes gloss over the painting and you almost seem to look into the painting as if it's a long tunnel, and it's created a rather nice almost 3D
I
perspective.
believe I have to make a self-control check while I'm looking at this thing.
Okay.
Um, one sec.
Tackle her. No.
Standard difficulty is 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I did this right. Oh, ouch. So, I'm pretty much stuck looking at the painting. I can't move, I can't speak, I can't do anything for a bit.
Sam's after a few moments, Sam's gonna kind of look at you, look at the painting, gonna gonna look back to Plaid, kind of snap his fingers in front of you. Monique, Monique,
It
hey.
happens.
Uh, Maybe I should roll a willpower?
I guess so. I mean, how would you come out of a trance? Would you roll your willpower? Or would you roll another self control?
Probably willpower to snap out
Yeah,
of
go
it.
ahead and roll willpower. See what happens.
Mhm.
Sam's trying to get you out of it, so it'd probably trigger something.
Seems like you should be able to cover the painting too. It would probably work.
Yeah, like if I cover up the painting and like say, "Hey, yo," kind of wave my hand in front of her face. Monique,
One sec. I got two
two hits.
successes. It's enough, I suppose. So like snap out of it, shake her head a bit, and like, oh, I'm sorry, and we'll cover the painting.
What happened there?
Uh, Nothing. It's fine. Uh, what were you saying? And she'll
Oh,
try
I
to
was.
focus again.
Oh, I was just talking about the painting. Um, he does things in a 3D perspective. He likes to make it look like you can actually reach into the painting and grab something rather than doing a standard 2D perspective.
Yes, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah, it's a good painting. I wanted, especially the original one there over on the right. That one is if it is the original, should be worth a pretty decent amount of money. Not a whole lot, but you know,
I will do my best to verify its authenticity.
of course. And he sends you the information on the painter and some of the other stuff and some other even some other comparison works that he's done.
Hmm.
Sam kind of looks at her kind of suspiciously for a little bit, and then he kind of looks back at the painting, looks back at her, and he says, "Monique,
Yes.
what I gotta ask, if you don't mind."
You can ask. That doesn't mean you will receive an answer.
He seems to pause for a moment. He starts to think like really hard, and he says, "Never mind about that. I actually know the answer to that. How is
Hmm.
your how is Mr. Partygoer? Has he been minding his manners this time?
So far, yes. But he's not out of the woods yet, and I don't know how it will go now that I'm, well, I'd say further down the shitter than he is at the moment.
Indeed. I've been keeping a decent eye on him. He seems to have been minding his P's and Q's. I just wanted to hear from you, making sure everything was fine. Um,
Yes.
I'll go ahead and wire half the funds to your account now, and then the other half when you're done with the painting. Um, and he kind of looks around the studio. How is your studio currently set? Are there a lot of paintings on the wall, or is everything just kind of left
Um,
over?
Surrounding it's a pretty big room, so surrounding it is like countertops. On the one side, there's a fairly big easel in the middle of the room and a lounger. And on the other side of the room is more tables and shelves where she has all the chemicals she needs to use and all the paints and things like that.
I assume
It's
there's
a
like
pretty big
a lighter.
studio. And now you're more back there to the more lab part of the studio.
It looks around at some of the paintings.
There are
What kind of?
many paintings of my sire.
Mhm.
Creepily so, maybe.
He looks at one of them and he's like, "If you don't mind me asking, Monique, how long have you been gifted? I guess would be the polite word to use with Cain's gifts."
That would be about 6 years after our last encounter.
Hmm.
So around 13 years.
Let's see. I've almost started lost it. I think almost about 100 for me.
Hmm.
Well, not quite. No, not yet. Not just yet. Well, actually, yeah. I was turned 6th of June, 1944.
Hmm.
I think it was
What a
at
time to be alive.
I think it was at 12 p.m.
And that means your birthday, if you will, is coming up.
Yeah, it is actually, and so to speak. I was turned in a very bad way. Not exactly an interesting time to become one of Cain's kindred, especially during that time. Contrary to popular belief, the war did not end on that date. It took far longer to truly end before that happened.
Just like in Hellboy.
Isn't that always
That
the case?
that movie actually wasn't too inaccurate as to what was happening.
What do you mean? That's the way it
There's
went down. It's a documentary.
close enough, I suppose.
I have
It
no
was
opinion on that.
So,
I just say that because some of these when I looked at the stockade of paintings that was in the warehouse, some of these works. Have you done some of these, or are these all works by someone else?
Where? In my studio.
Yeah, paintings of your
No, those
sire.
no, those are paintings that I have done. Those are all my work.
Your style is very similar to someone I knew. Hmm, reminded me of that.
I'm still developing my style. That's how I want to see it.
Well,
And
whether you like it or not.
you can actually see that there is some progression both in style and in skill if you see paintings from older to the newer ones.
Yeah, he's looking at some of the newer ones, and that's why his memories are getting triggered. He it looks very familiar. Um, he kind of goes a little dark for a moment, and he says, "How about you,
Talbot.
Mister Talbot? How long have you been one of Cain's children?"
I'm more like one of Akeem's children, actually. But I was embraced in 1870.
Hmm. Well, you have me beat by quite a bit.
Hmm.
Eh.
You got me beat by quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm worried, Monique. You might be a little young to get involved in hunting the red lister.
I may have a few aces up my sleeve, sir.
How well do you know how to use that thing you carry? And he kind of points over to your pistol.
I mean,
I wasn't referring to my pistol, but
oh, you carry a pistol too? I didn't have any idea.
Actually, Sam's going to go ahead and drop his Mask of a Thousand Faces, and he stands before you in a gray duster. He's basically dressed very much like the picture that's depicted in the Avatar. And if there's any sort of if the studio has lights on you don't really notice it, but if it's any sort of darkness at all, his eyes are almost glowing blue, much like in the picture.
Hmm.
And now you can see that Sam is also armed. And if you look on his right hip, there is a massive 50 caliber Tornado 6 revolver.
I'm not very familiar with weapons per se.
It's basically 50 caliber revolver, just a big
Yeah.
giant ass pistol, but it's got a short barrel and it's got recoil dampeners.
Okay.
Just in case you need
And
to shoot someone hiding behind an elephant.
yes, or hiding
Mm-hmm.
behind three walls.
Great.
He kind of twirls it a little bit and he hands it butt face to um, why am I forgetting the
Talbot?
character's name? Talbot. Says he kind of gives you the okay if you want to take a look at it.
Talbot will examine it naturally,
It
but
is.
only briefly.
It's basically a very high quality Tornado 6. 6 shots, 50 caliber Magnum ammo. And you also
Yeah,
notice
Monique
that
looks lost.
on the hilt or on the handle, the pommel, there is a small engraving, and it says S and V.
S&V. Okay.
When
I
he
hand
takes
it
it back,
back.
he puts it in the holster.
I don't assume Monique wants to examine it.
No.
No.
Out of curiosity, Monique, I do understand that you have other talents, but if the Red Whistler was literally to appear in front of you right now, what would you do?
I'd set myself on fire.
Well,
And
action.
embrace him.
Yeah, there you go. That would do it.
That is certainly an interesting idea.
It would work.
It probably would. I mean, most of our kind don't like the heat. Another strange curse that was gifted down onto Cain's children. I wonder what his children did to bring that curse upon them. Anyway, the reason I ask is just because I've seen that this red lister can tend to appear whenever he wants, it seems, and I'm just making sure you have a fallout plan.
Then I should have many flammable materials around me.
Would be a bad idea.
I think paint thinner is flammable.
Yes, don't worry. I have a lot of things I can use. Restoration involves a lot of chemistry, you know?
Don't say that around Doctor. He'll obsess you with questions for 5 hours. When he found out I knew about the sciences and about chemistry and biology, he went nuts.
Well, that doesn't mean that would be a bad encounter for me.
It wouldn't, but I
I
tease.
always like learning more.
If you wish to learn more about the sciences, he is the man to go to.
I
Yes, I expect so.
I was going to get him to do something for me, but it wound up being a null point when Dimitri died.
Ah, yes, I remember that. Speaking of which, if you ever need supplies, I can more than happily supply you for your associations.
What you mean, like paint and stuff?
I meant more of the deadly things.
Oh, that's interesting.
If Sam, if it's illegal activity you're discussing,
It's
better
not
not do
illegal
it
activity.
here.
Oh, it's not illegal activity. What I'm discussing with him is perfectly legal.
I,
I hope so.
probably not true.
Well, actually, it's most of my business is pretty legal. Although,
Pretty
grave,
legal and completely legal are far apart.
Exactly what legal murderous weapons were you going to provide me with? I mean,
This isn't funny.
It's
I just want to make sure that I don't further compromise myself.
you're not going to compromise yourself with me. My actions are my own, and I will be the one suffering for them.
I don't know,
Every
wolves have ears.
Are you worried about getting arrested by the humans?
No. Or
what's
being
troubling you
shunned
then?
by even more people in the organization.
A little shunning never hurt anyone. The Red Lister's shunned by all who know him, and look how good he's doing.
He's an evil bastard.
He is an evil bastard, but look at how many people hate him, and
It's
look
not
at how
even a
he's still
he, it's an
alive.
it.
Or
It's an
it, sorry.
entity. It's not a person, it's an entity.
I know.
Okay?
Think about how many people hate him and watch to see him burn, including me, and yet no one can touch him. Amazing.
The time will come.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it comes soon.
I'll catch
Anyway,
him
Monique.
at some point.
Me and Talbot do have business propositions to discuss, and I will not discuss them in front of you. And I am sorry for bringing up some things like that. But I assure you, Monique, you are a business associate, someone who I am doing perfectly legal and all right work with, and whatever hounding comes down will come down on me, not you. I'll see to that. I promise you that. I take responsibility for my own actions. I don't ask that you pay for them.
Agreed.
Very well. I'll
Very
leave you
well.
to
I
your
will
work.
start researching the painting. Assuming I can determine its authenticity fast enough, it shouldn't take more than a week.
Have
If
fun with.
I'm not able to, it might take longer.
I'll wire 3,500 to your account tonight. He turns on Mask of a Thousand Faces and puts on his business attire again. He's like, Mr. Talbot, I will see you back at my place. And let's proceed onward. Monique, you have a good night.
Good evening, Sam.
And he will.
Monique, if the Red Lister does show up, consider lighting him on fire instead of yourself. That's my professional advice.
If that fails,
Well, at least you tried.
trying is not an option unless it's a success at this point for me.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen if you go with my plan? Neither of you burn? That doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, but I want to make sure that he burns.
All right. Well, I'm sure that'll work.
I'm not, but I have to do it. I have to find a way to do it.
You know, I would be useful in that.
How so?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but it turns out that I kill people for a living.
He is not people,
Not really the point.
but it is the point.
I don't really know how to respond, so okay, we'll just leave now.
He's very powerful. I don't know if you have noticed that.
I really didn't. I mean, he was floating around picking on neonates. I didn't really. Oh, and then he did it.
Yeah, teleporting in and out, materializing out of nothing, disappearing just the same.
All right. We'll just be going then.
Always remember one piece of information. If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if that thing bleeds. I don't know what that thing does. All I know is that it's very powerful and will take a lot. But we probably have to play it smart.
Indeed.
And perhaps my idea is not the smartest, but if I don't try it, I'll never know.
Sam thinks for a moment. He says, if that's really how you feel, Miss Monique, I may be sending you something soon.
A fire extinguisher?
I believe she already has one of those. No, something else. Just food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening.
All right.
Sam
Good
Sam
evening,
will
Sam.
Sam will exit and give a little nod and then continue on and wait for Talbot when he gets down the stairs.
Talbot will also exit.
Good night, Mr. Talbot.
Nice seeing you again, Monique.
After you get down to the bottom, the two guys will be waiting and hop in the Mercedes and go back to Sam's bar, which is currently a gamer bar slash kind of gaming themed whatnot. It's also a little small feed ground, and you'll go around the back to one of the warehouses that is owned on the promenade, and you'll go through kind of a security gate, and you'll see some guys with armed guards, and you'll go downstairs into this big, almost kind of secure vault room, and that will be where Sam spends most of his time. And he says, "Come, sit down, Talbot. Can I get you? I don't want to sound ironic, but can I get you a drink from up top, maybe?"
No, thank you.
No. He sits down and he says, "So, when you first contacted me, I hear you wanted to discuss a possible business venture. And seeing as how several of the other major ventures in Dublin are dust in the wind at this point, I guess I'm your man to talk to. Now, what did you have in mind? I was a bit curious to hear about it firsthand."
Well, I assume you are aware that I am an Assamite.
Yes,
Okay.
it's part of the reason I was interested in several talents of yours. But when I heard that you had a proposition of your own, I was even more intrigued. Yes, I am aware. Believe me, I have no qualms with working with other clans. I have no qualms with working with other things of the night. But yes, I'm fine with that.
I just mention it because sometimes when I tell people there's a shocked reaction, they stare at me a bit and then slide away because they're worried
Now,
I'll goblerize them or something.
I met plenty of Assamites in the war.
Which war?
The war the humans call World War II.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I remember you said you were embraced in '44, so that made sense. Um, I I have two things come to mind. I just wanted to mention my obvious Assamite skill set in case anyone needed to hire me for certain things like security, eliminating certain specific sabat if they ever come up. Um, various jobs that we're used to. People of my persuasion performing. But I also had a side venture I was very interested in. I would like to start for right now, local, uh, financial based magazine.
I like the sound of that.
However, I find it difficult dealing with mortals.
Yes, it can be difficult, especially when, we're asleep half the time. But most of my associates can do dealings in the day and can keep things going, and most of the time, mortals are pretty easy. I mean, all you need to do is give them goods or give them money, and they're pretty set. I mean, heck, with
Uh,
vampires and other kindred, usually we deal in boons, and there's always blood bonding and other et cetera, et cetera. But with humans, it's easy. You just throw money at them, and they're satisfied.
yes, but I made humans uncomfortable when I was one, and it got worse with my embrace. So
If you
it's
don't mind me asking, what were you before your embrace?
I was Sikh.
I see.
I'm wearing a Sikh headband and everything.
Hmm?
Sorry, out of character. I just realized you had never done a scene with me, so you never had me describe myself. Talbot is He has a long curly black beard and full beard, and he wears the traditional Sikh turban and very loose clothing.
Yes, well, especially nowadays, people are our wars have pushed into the human world, and the paranoia and stereotypes that humans give to certain aspects of us are bullshit. It
Or
is
maybe they
unfortunate.
just instinctively know that if I had to, I would kill them. It could be that too.
We do tend to give an aura of a predator sometimes, although it's very rare that I've noticed humans picking up on it, but it's not something I would put past us. I can get someone to help you with the face work if you want.
I already have someone I'm thinking of talking to about being the point of contact for um, dealing with the staff, the mortals. But what I
Excellent.
mostly would need help with, um, I'm still fairly new in Dublin, and I need to purchase the requisite items. You know, lease building space, hiring the actual staff. Uh, I don't even know what all needs to be possessed in order to print a magazine in this time period. So I would need someone who is familiar with it.
I
And
have done such work in the past, and I can help you with this.
oh, you've worked on a magazine?
Uh, yes, I have actually. Actually, back before I had my unfortunate accident, I worked with the local paper. Of course, things were quite different back then, and we did things the old-fashioned way back then. But nowadays, it's so much easier with digital copies and formatting and reformatting and printing.
So you were
So
a
much
journalist then?
before I joined the war. Yes,
Huh, that's excellent. Uh, that's excellent. That's kismet, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
yes, and I know the typical tradition of most Assamites. You need to get permission from certain things, and price needs to be negotiated. I might need to meet with some people, but as for the business, I can go ahead and start to declare running it, and I could get some uh, people out. And if you have someone you can trust to do the face work, I imagine that would be good. Say the business partnership 60-40, 60 for you, 40 for me, gross.
I'm going to need to pay the other associate as well. We'll probably the deal will be something that happens between all three of us, so we can't discuss
Okay,
too much specifics just yet. But
understood.
once I get in touch with them and find out if they're interested or not, then we'll know for sure.
That sounds like a plan. I also wanted to ask about your other skills. My when I'm as with me opening up new businesses here in Dublin and trying to get some stuff started, I will be needing more security, and I will be needing someone to train that security in case we have you and me, our business always has violence in it one way or another, and I would be needing my security staff trained. I
Uh,
have a very personalized selection of security staff, as you could tell.
would you need them trained in legal or illegal uses of force?
95% of them legal forces. Maybe about another 2 or 3% there illegal ways.
I'm capable of both, but I'm probably more skilled with less than legal means in Dublin.
Hmm. And I would also need, as you remember, as I was discussing and whatnot, I may need you to do a little bit of bodyguard work for a couple of my associates and one of our kindred in particular, who I need to make sure occasionally doesn't get himself into trouble. But other than that, uh, I think just calling upon you as a reliable asset. If you don't mind me calling you that, I know some of our kind really takes offense when I say that. But
What, the term asset?
asset, yes.
Don't bother me.
Heck, I've had
Um,
heck, I've had kindred get angry at me simply for calling them ally.
Strange. What how many people would I be bodyguarding? It can be difficult to guard more than one at a time.
Just one at a time.
Well, would it be like a very limited duration, or
Probably just every now and then when my availability is limited.
any idea what I'll be protecting them from?
Possibly other kindred.
Interesting.
Kindred who might seek to maybe rough him up, maybe send a message. I do not think it will be anyone of high up note, but there may be some thuggish types, if you will, that may come after him or may not. I don't know. But all I know is that when one of our kind tends to make another angry, they tend to start to flaunt their power, and someone somewhere usually wants them dead. And it's usually not a high payment job, meaning that if he does get attacked, it will most likely be by very low kindred standards. And if they choose to break and violate the masquerade in that way, last time I checked, we are within rights to defend ourselves against other kindred that choose to break the masquerade and violate terms of agreement.
I'll have to tread carefully, but I believe I can do this. I know the prince was uncomfortable with my presence in the city as little as 2 months ago when I arrived.
Yeah, the prince seems to be uncomfortable with everyone nowadays.
Well, I did arrive at the same time as Sombra.
Yeah, that can look suspicious. I agree. But I don't think you're here to do that. I think you seem to be just looking for business. Whereas in the La Sombra is looking for far more than just business.
Kindred also have tendencies to have bad things, including final death, happen to them shortly after meeting me.
Kind of narrows his eyes and he kind of looks around.
I don't have anything to do with it.
You see him reach towards the phone and he pulls the connector, so the phone is literally just a dead box at this point. And he pulls the plug and he sets it down, and then he pulls out a little, almost what looks like a little police scrambler to scramble radio frequencies.
Oh, cool.
And he turns it on. And he says, "Are you a well-known Diablerist?"
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a Diablerist. See,
what would you call yourself?
Sorry?
What would you call yourself?
Well, just an Assamite.
Yes. Okay. That's probably another thing you should be aware of here in Dublin, and this is just friendly advice. Most people who see you will probably assume you are a Diablerist. Keep that in mind when negotiating with people here. That's just friendly advice.
My aura will confirm this, but not because I've ever Diablerized anyone.
Indeed.
It's just something that happens to my people.
Indeed, I understand, and I know. I'm just saying that our kind does tend to be stereotypical.
Well, for example, when Dimitri unfortunately passed, met final death, it was moments after I had met him when we went to liberate the Elysium. Then I met with the gangrel Primogen. I believe his name was David. Forget his last name. He went out just after we met and killed a Setite neonate, and then met final death himself the next evening. This was just after I had met him. I might be cursed. You should maybe be careful for 2 or 3 days after we meet.
We're both cursed, my friend. Maybe the curses will cancel each other out.
Do kindred kill over and die after meeting with you?
Sometimes.
Should we tell Monique, or does she have enough on her mind?
I've had conversations with Monique quite a few times the past few months, and although bad things have happened to her, she is still here with us, so I do not think she has to worry about my little superstitious curse.
Fair enough.
Well, I look forward to doing more business associations with you. He holds out his hand to shake.
Yeah, I shake his hand.
I will see you out, and I will wish you a good night and good hunting.
Yeah,
I will
you as
talk
well.
with you soon. I look forward to it.
As do I.
And as you're walking out, you can see like kind of the long hallway. The odd part about this place is it's very normal looking, except for one part of the entire setup. The warehouse that's under the bar and then the bar up top, those both look normal, at least from standard perspective. The vault room looks normal. Even the entryway looks normal. The hallway that you walk down from his room to the exit is really weird.
Is it like
It's
uneven?
it's all stone. It's a little bit uneven, and it's literally just blank. There's no doors. There's no camera. There's no other hallways leading in. It's literally just a flat, like almost rectangle, misshapen rectangle of a hallway. And as you're walking down, there's almost a disorienting feeling that you're tilting to the left,
Hmm.
but you don't.
Like being in a fun house or a mausoleum.
Yeah, almost. And then when you walk out the stairs and go to the back warehouse area, he kind of looks at you and he says, "We definitely should." I'll say this now. I don't know who I can actually trust or what I can actually trust, knowing some of my other associates, but something big is going to happen. And we, as a kindred, really need to stay united on this one. Because if we divide, we fall. So I will ask that, of course, you look out for your own assets as well. But I am not here to make enemies. I am here to do business and to aid my fellow kindred. That is my purpose. So take suspicion, as we always do, and as what we are. But know this, I am certainly not an enemy of yours.
That's that's all right. I don't make enemies. I eliminate them.
And as the rain starts to come down pretty hard, Sam will just give a nod, and he will say, "Then happy hunting." And he goes back down into his little tunnel there, and the rain just continues to fall down, and our scene will fade to black, and that will end it for tonight's session.